Okay, looks like it's finally finished. So we'll back out of that for a moment, and we'll open up Legends Viewer. Notice that this has a different timestamp than the original one. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe it's not exporting the... maybe it didn't export the... hang on, let's go back. Just do a quick map export because why not? Should have exported our world stuff, and it didn't look like it exported the non-XML file. Okay, so there's an updated world history and an updated world sites, and that's what we need. And now it will churn for a moment. So when we started, the Mirror of Systems only had 36 people in it, and they are now 111. So I'm suspicious that our fort is like 90% of them. But we're looking to overtake the relic of thinning here before much longer. And oop, hang on. Need to add a second key for my push to talk so I could actually talk to you guys this way. So at this point, all of the sites, every single one except the Rim of Infamy, founding Pass Razor here, all of the others have been taken over or destroyed completely. Apparently these Earth and Dungeon people are really unhappy with us. They are coming after us hardcore. So uh, our 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 foundation was the last thing that's been done for several hundred years before that. Yeah, we're 78 of the 111 population currently, just for perspective. And here's a list of people who created artifacts, including some of our donators. Regain their senses after an initial period of questionable judgment. Nice. Nice. And so here's all the people that settled and when they did and so forth. I was hoping we would see... No, it doesn't tell us what I was hoping it would. Bummer. Okay, well, that unfortunately doesn't tell me what I was hoping to know. I don't believe we will see goblins on our civ list until we actually encounter a goblin. And since we've only encountered kobolds, I can't tell whether we actually embarked in the right place or not. I take it back. There is one way we could do that. We could pretend we were reclaiming the fort and check the civ map there, and I think it will let us do that. Let it do its little clock magic here for a couple of days. And then we can tell it we want to reclaim a site. And then we can try to find... Oops. Wait. We want to set up our right group, don't we? Bibon Delair, that's our settlement because it's got the note we placed. Oops. So can we reclaim it? It says it's inhabited. Let's try. Okay, so if we were embarking here, we would have goblins, and they are at war with us, so they just haven't arrived yet. That's fantastic. Okay, good. So now we know we're in good shape. We're going to actually see goblins at some point. Yay! Okay, so let's bounce out of here. And we'll overwrite our region again, and then we will... From archive to save, yes. So this is actually working out pretty well. Yay. Whee! And now we can continue where we left off with our fortress originally, and away we go. I'm Howard Cosell. Alright, let's see. Did we get our forge up and running yet? Not yet.
Summertime
Come on, guys, get the forge done. And thanks for the link, Revolution. Now that I've downloaded it, I'm reasonably sure that we're just going to stick with this version. I think it's working fine. I haven't noticed any problems yet. And if it's fixing the crash, then that's perfect. Now, nice to note is that our forge is located right next to the adamantine. Right there. Check it out. So, you know, that candy is right next door. We may poke over there and see how far up that comes and see if we can't get a slice of the candy before we get in too deep here. Before we can do any of that, I've got to get this forge up. And they're coming. It's just they're all the way up top and the forge is all the way down at the bottom. Well, that's part of our problem. We don't have anybody running the forges or the smelters, so let's get started on that. In fact, our ceramics guys, when they're not busy, they can be running forges too. Or smelters, rather, I should say. Smelters. Dope! Yeah, crashes bother me a little less than they used to because I figured out that you could save seasonally. Before I knew that you could do that, I was running autosaves yearly, I think, by default, I think is what it sets it up as, and yikes. Losing 4 seasons of progress after a crash is dreadful. Enough to make you want to just throw the whole thing out and start over. Alright, so now we've got a forge up and running. Do we have enough iron on hand to make another anvil? If we do, we'll make a few just to have some on hand. We may want to open up more smelters in a minute. We do not have 3 iron bars, so we are waiting on the smelter. Who are bringing iron ore? Now the reason I'm taking these metals in particular, hematite, limonite, and magnetite are all iron ores that can be smelted down to iron. Tetrahedrite, cassiterite, malachite, and technically copper nuggets, I guess, if I'm going to do it properly, are all copper ores that can be melted together with the cassiterite to make bronze, so that gets us all of our weaponable metals from copper all the way up to iron included. When you make steel, the only addition at that point that you need is flux, and flux is just a regular stone marble, so that's just upstairs. If we need to make a stockpile a little higher up for flux stone specifically, once we get to that point, then I can do that. For right now, I'm worried about getting the weaponable metals down here stockpiled and smelted down, because frankly, we're way behind where we should be on a metal industry. And he's going to forge something for us. He's not going to gain any skill, the miserable bastard. I'm hoping the magma crabs stay away. We do have a hole at the bottom. I don't want them flinging shit at my guys. Screw it. I'd rather seal it up now and deal with it later than have to worry about them coming up and popping that guy when he's in the middle of a mood. We'll fix the rest later. Oh, I know what we forgot to do. We forgot to take out a bar and block stockpile, which we need to do now. Alright, so there are humans that have finally arrived. Good, good. Let them toddle their little wagons on down and we'll trade with them. And now a small cheat. Sort of. We're going to build a glass furnace. Just a regular old glass furnace. And it doesn't really matter where we put it, but I'm going to stash it in the middle of our pastures because why not? And these glass furnaces are going to be special. Their sole purpose is going to be to collect sand. They'll have no other jobs. They will have sand as their only job all the time. Sand on repeat, always. We will set them up to take no general jobs, and their only work order will be sand on infinite repeat daily. Collect 3,000 or some ridiculous number. It doesn't matter what we put. This way, the collect sand job is being done out of these workshops that aren't ever going to use any fuel for anything. And all of the actual smelting that needs fuel will be done downstairs in the magma glass workshops where we get it for free, basically. So we still have to provide the bags, obviously. And there's our forge workers getting to work. Good, good. Here come the humans. Here come the thugs. Come on, guys. Uh-oh. Where at? Oh, he must have got himself up into a tree somehow. Congratulations there, genius. You're on the wrong side of the river in a tree. Good job. He's a freaking genius. Awesome. Let's go fell a tree and drop a corpse on the ground. Oh, and for bonus points, you're above the pond because fuck you, that's why. Awesome. Fantastic. So if I fell the tree he's in, he drops into the water, and then I have to fucking drain the pond to get him out of that. Ugh, crap. Do I even want to know how he ended up on the wrong side of the river in a... No, I don't. I don't know. I don't need to know that. That would be... That's just better left as a mystery of the universe. I don't even have a bridge over to that side, so he has to walk around through this dangerous terrain to even get there, and then he has to do something to climb a tree. Nice. Nice. To be honest, we can probably buy everything on the caravan with those discs we just brought out. Um, or probably pretty close to it, especially if that contained the Masterwork disc we were putting out there for sale. Because that's going to be worth like 3K, I think, by itself. Something like. Some ridiculous amount. Here come the incredibly heavy mug bins, full of mugs to be sold, or weapons. I'm just one. It could be the trap components bin, I suppose. Look at them, lug them. Those things must be stacked to the brim with mugs.
Ah, it's completed! I've made an amazing artifact!
Well, that'll be good to stick in the, eventual Baron slash King, since we're now going to be big enough to have a king at some point. We're going to be the mountain home whether we want to be or not. Alright, so these guys are humans, so they don't care if we sell them wood stuff, so that's good. Now, new players should be wary of buying from the humans. Anything that says large is not usable by a dwarf. So you can forget that stuff. Most things like two-handed swords are out of the range of size for a dwarf. Technically, I think there are incredibly large dwarves occasionally who will be able to wear or use two-handed weapons, but you're just not going to see that many of them. Don't worry about it too much. Let's see. We'll take all of the leather. All of the leather. Most of the cloth, too, if it's at this price. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll take all of that. So we're just going to rack this stuff up because, yeah, we need it. Oh, look at all that leather. Yummy, yummy, yummy. All this cloth. That's fantastic. We can put our cloth workers to use finally. Our leather workers are going to have bags for days, cloaks, and hoods that we need to get caught up for our armor on all of our military guys are going to have that on their outfits. What are we up to? 4K? Okay, so there's 27,000 gold worth of stuff, or dwarf bucks worth of stuff in this weapon bin alone. Probably mostly in a few of these discs that are lurking around here. Let's see what the glass ones are going for first. So, one Masterwork disc, 3K. We'll check out these 12K or 1.2K ones, and that brings us up to just about 50% profit. We're nice, so we'll kick in an extra K, and we'll go ahead and trade what we've got so we get it locked in. And then we'll go back to trading again. We'll rack up another set of gear here. We're basically just going to suck all this cloth in and turn around and start making clothes for our dwarves, because at this point our clothing is going to start to get worn out and we need to start replacing it. We don't have a farmer's workshop working on producing anything out of the pigtails. Ideally we want to be processing them into thread and not brewing them, but we've been brewing them up front. That's fine, we can work around that. We've got leather, we've got cloth, we'll be able to make all the stuff we need, no problem. But it does mean that we need to buy as much of the cloth as we can so that we can make gear. And we'll go ahead and pick up these anvils because they're a regular price. Ooh, you've got meat. We'll take all your meat and fish and whatnot because we can make meals with all of these things. And meals can be resold for, 12 times what we're buying them for. And our dwarves will like eating various things depending on what they like. So buying all this stuff we can't easily get gives us access to things that our dwarves might prefer. In addition to the things that we can pad them out with, which are produced on site en masse. So things that we have, like eventually peacock meat, we're going to have in large quantity, can be mixed up with just a little of the intestines that we just bought to spread them out and get more mileage out of them, if you will. All these fish. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. It's not that he fled that I don't get. I understand that. He fled. Fine. Fantastic. Why does he flee up a tree and not be able to get back down? What the hell? How does he get up the tree and not be able to get back down? There's no... This isn't a difficult question. Any limb that would support him, he had to be able to climb up. If you can climb up, you can climb down. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm looking at what I'm going to have to do to get him out of this, and it's just like, do I really want to bother? I'm going to have to literally drain the pond he's going to drop into. I'm going to have to go over there, build a pump, fell the tree, drop him in the pond, pump all the water out of the pond, and then pick him up and take him to a freaking coffin and bury him. All of that for one fucking moron who got himself on the wrong side of the river and up a tree. It's incredible. It's as good as the zombies who, at one point in an older version, managed to dodge their way onto the top of my walls, and then at that point, I couldn't get my civilians to go outside, and I didn't have any way to shoot them down or any way to get the materials indoors to fight them off. So they were basically stuck up there forever, and I couldn't get in or out of my fort. It just trashed my progress because they managed to jump to the roof. Oh, what's this? Books. Well, let's see here. Book, what are you? What is your description? You are a Goose Parchment Scroll. You are an essay. The studies of the human in some place he probably wasn't supposed to be. Prose is not awful, but not very good. What the hell. We've got to build the library, so let's see what we can buy here in terms of books, because we're going to be buying it all here. These are copies, but that's okay. I don't mind. We'll take the copies and put them on the shelf. Codexes with nothing in them. Sheets, we can use those for our own. Books, that's fantastic. What are we up to? 10k. Okay, so it's time to start selling some of our gear back to him. This may take a minute, guys. Bear with me. I mean, the thing I would ask Toady to do with respect to guys getting up stuck up trees is if they're, at some point they're starting to get hungry and there's a ground there that they could theoretically path to, why not just make a check to see if they can jump down? Maybe the landing kills them, but at least they don't, just starve to death up a tree that they managed to get themselves up, like some sort of treed animal that couldn't figure out how to climb down. So since training axes are no longer of any use to us, and I don't usually use swords, we were just building them to kind of work on our skills a little bit and get some varied weapons amongst our crew. We're going to sell all the old training axes and training swords. I'm going to keep the training spears. We can put those to use in a minute, but for now, let's go ahead and get rid of all those training weapons that we don't need. We'll keep the picks. We want those. Bronze disc. We'll hang on to those for the moment. We'll see what else we need to get rid of here in a sec. Lots of training spears. I need to check to see if we've... I don't think we're making training spears anymore. We must have gone berserk on making those. You can't use them like you used to for danger rooms. You'll spear your dwarves if you try. So let's see, we're down to 6k, so we'll chuck out a couple of these green discs, and then we'll go up here and chuck out a couple of bronze discs, because why not? And now he's at 6k, and he'll take what we've got. We'll go ahead and buy all of that stuff. And then we'll make one more tour through his extensive inventory to make sure we haven't missed anything useful. And then we'll worry about processing the stuff in, I guess. There's some cages here that aren't too expensive. Let's buy those, because why not? Saves us having to make them. There's some cheap barrels. We can throw those on the pile. A couple of cheap buckets would be nice. Just stockpile them for later. Let's see. Anything useful here, guys? Iron battle axe wouldn't be bad to have. It's undecorated. I wouldn't buy decorated weapons unless I was really desperate, because they're hugely expensive and you're not getting anything really better than what you already had. We can't equip any of this large equipment, so we have to skip past most of this stuff. Bags would be good. Ooh, barley seeds. We could start planting barley. That would be good. Urad beans. I'm sure we can process those down for seeds, I'm hoping. Yellow sand, hide root seeds, sheepwool bag, alfalfa seeds. We can plant those. It's time to start thinking about our conservatory that we built at the very beginning, where we were talking about being able to plant stuff below ground, and we'll see if that works still or not. Watermelon seeds, we can plant those. Let's see, what else do we have here? Anything useful? I already bought the anvils. I guess I could throw a couple more in the wagon, because why not? A few of those wouldn't hurt to have on hand, and I don't really want to buy discs and trap components because they're expensive. That's what we sell because they're expensive. Okay, so yeah, we're good there. Let's go down here and take a look and see if we've got enough to stack up another 2k or so of stuff. probably do that easily. Yeah, we've got discs, we've got spears, we've got crossbows. Oh yeah, we're good. And I don't even think we've finished delivering the mugs yet, so let's hold off on buying this stuff, and we'll come back in a moment. We'll come back in a second. Because there's 4 bins of gear coming slowly towards us that I'm sure is just loaded down full of bins, full of mugs here for sale. We're going to end up in the situation where we have to shuffle them out every time if we don't start getting rid of them. Somebody's mad. What are we mad about here? Looks like we're failing to drink from fruit, which we're probably never going to succeed because that's rare as hell that we have that. And I should really just cancel the work order and then put it back in to see if we have any, or to see if it would meet the conditions. Leather quiver, I should probably cancel off and reset. Tanna hide, I probably have on repeat, probably. They must be our sparring guys. Our broker has gone AWOL for drink. As long as they don't decide that they're done trading for now, then we're good. If they decide to switch over and say that they're done trading, I'll allow anybody to trade so I can get these last few trades done. But for now, let's get this guy out here in front and get him doing work. Yeah, so there's another 3K worth of mugs here we can sell. That's probably more than enough. Let's check. We'll pick up the cheap water skins. Platinum flask is always nice. We'll snag one of those. Run down here and get these cheap cages, because cheap cages can be used. Including the goose, we will slaughter. The barrels are cheap, so we'll buy that. Donkey's milk is cheap. We'll get some wine. A couple of cheap buckets, I remember. Okay. Wasn't there a iron battle axe? There was. Don't care about those great axes. We can't use those. Large equipment we can't use. And we get down here some bags. Okay, so don't care about the lion and horse leather. Those are too expensive. But the linen, barley, white sea, and Urad beans. Skip those decorated ones. Those are expensive. Buy those there because they have useful stuff for their cheap. Alfalfa seeds. Whipvine flour will skip. Black sand. Bullet bag. Watermelon seeds. 2 decorated. We'll skip it. That's not too expensive. We'll throw it in. I don't want the wooden chest, though. We'll leave that there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and throw the anvils in, because why not? Maybe we'll want to expand later and we'll have one hand. We'll even buy up a couple of the quivers and backpacks that are base cost. Anything else useful? Let's see. Couple cheap crutches. Instruments we're going to skip. Yeah, we're not worried about those. And our profit is in line, so we'll try trading at that. And bang, away we're done. Okay, so then we'll take the goods that are on for sale here, and we will move them out of trade. They'll go back to their respective places. We'll unneed the trader, and that's it. We're done with that. We need to get an animal stockpile to hold empty cages and filled cages, obviously. And I need to find out what's in these bins. Are they just empty and just sitting there? Oh no, those are finished goods bins. And cloth bins that definitely need to be pulled out of where they are and delivered. Okay, so our haulers are a little behind, but they're getting there. So let's build a generic finished goods bin for miscellaneous finished goods, not our mug storage, basically. Where's a good spot for that? We'll store that right off here would be about right. Okay. We won't need a big one because that much room will hold all the finished goods bins we're ever going to produce, and the only thing we'll eliminate from this stockpile is mugs. Mugs and goblets need to be stored in the decorating pile, basically. Anything we accumulate will be here and collected in all these bins, and as this starts to fill up, we'll go back through it and start eliminating stuff we don't need that's accumulated over time. Okay, have they finished the bridge so I can get across and start dealing with this guy in the tree? No, not yet. Okay. Let's go through our animals because we just bought some and slaughter those that we don't care about. Chop, 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 chop. Lots of butchering jobs coming down the pike. And all of those cages we just snagged can all go directly into the cage traps around the alternate entrance. So if anybody tries to sneak in, there's a good chance we're going to have cages involved. Now that won't stop kobolds, but kobolds should probably get detected by the dogs. And realistically, trying to slip into this fortress with our main traffic path being right across where you're coming in is not necessarily going to help. Okay, let's go check out our kill box over here. Cut it down one more floor, so can we go down one more than this? If we go down to here, what are we above this Y1? Yeah, okay, so we can go down one more. That'll give our miners something to do when they finish up with the furniture, or with the finished goods stockpile we're building. So see, it takes a little longer now to get to the mining area when we're starting to clear this out, because now the only walkable path is that long, narrow one, the suspended walkway over the pit. And so our guys have to walk around the long way to get to the hole. And now they'll make it a little deeper. Three floors, however, is not a particularly significant drop. So once this is done, we're going to put in some walls on the tunnels below us, and then we'll mine out the floor below this carefully so that we can best access it without dropping our guys in a hole. So you can tell who the miners are. Look at this guy go on a tear. He's so far ahead of everybody else. Okay, let's check in on our block stockpile to be. Okay, so we detected more magma there. Yeah, that's that jut in where the magma does. That's not a big deal. Okay, so this is more than enough space for bars and blocks. And as before, the only bar you want to allow is that of coal and metal bars. And then we'll set this up and have it take bins, and then we'll have it take from the other bar stockpile up top. And we'll tell that bar stockpile that it is no longer allowed to hold bars, and at that point anybody who's delivering stuff will finish it. That will be the last bars stored there. And we can start the process of migrating our inventory downstairs to where it needs to be used. So, that's there, and then we'll come back upstairs and disable this one. And clean it out. And then that will get us 2 floors because I'm going to wipe out this stockpile as well. And they'll start moving this ore downstairs as well now. Oh, he must have changed it. We didn't need coal before for a magma forge. That's interesting. Is that true for all of these? Or does it just use the defaults and then not need them, I wonder? Let's check. So many hours of doing this, I'm still in the habit of doing it the old-fashioned way. Holy hell. Okay, so my clothier will come along, or the textile worker, I should say, will come along and start grinding through the cloth we've accumulated. We're going to make sure we get some cloth bags built as well. So notice down here at the bottom, general work orders cannot task this shop. The only thing this thing will ever do is collect sand. That's all we want it for. So I stacked it with 9 jobs collecting sand on repeat, and then a work order that would infinitely repeat collecting sand. Actually, we'll come back. I don't really want to collect that much sand. I do want to come back and kill that job now because it's kicked off, damn it. Oh well. Wow, you can't, Interesting. And that will sit there and collect sand forever at this point. Now I don't really need to fill up those additional slots, except if I want to make sure I'm keeping uh, work orders out, manager work orders, or if I want to warn myself that this is a special furnace that we shouldn't be using for what we're getting ready to do. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what our kill room is orientated towards. Things that get into the kill room are going to path, so you can now kind of see what text will be text. Our archers are going to be perched here on the upper gallery, and they're going to be shooting down into the gallery as things path along this serpentine corridor. And what we're basically going to do is line this whole thing with traps that will cause people to either get hit and take damage, or dodge and then fall into the pit because there's nowhere else to stand. And so they'll fall all the way to the bottom of where we're going to end up once we finally wall all this in the way I'm going to have to do.